Okay. Well, there are so many reasons to vote for Ryan Bundy as governor of the state of Nevada that I can hardly keep up with them. Probably one of the most impressive things to me is the fact that Ryan Bundy has proven himself. He's proven himself as a man who will stand for principle. And the principles I'm referring to are the principles found in the Constitution of the United States of America. That Constitution, which has made America great, but in the last so many decades has been disregarded by almost all politicians. So when Ryan Bundy says that he is a strict constitutionalist, you can take it to the bank. Ryan Bundy has been tested and tried in the furnace of affliction. For those that don't know, he stood against the BLM in 2014, April 12th, I believe it was, for his property rights. But not just his property rights, but for everybody's property rights. Those rights found in the Constitution of the United States. He stood for a ranching family up in Oregon, Harney County, by the name of Dwight and Stephen Hammond. Little by little, all that's going to come out, what the BLM had done to that family in trying to destroy them, destroy their livelihood, steal their land. We've been able to connect the dots, and most people understand that was the Clinton Foundation, the Clintons and the FBI that were behind the BLM and stealing that ranch. And for those who don't know, Dwight and Stephen Hammond are still in prison on completely trumped up charges. If you have any questions, just Google, Dwight and Stephen Hammond, and you can find out all the information. So, Ryan loves his neighbor. He'll stand up for his neighbors. And he went to Harney County to protest. And we ended up, and I'm going to say we now because I was with him, we ended up at the Malheur Refuge in a peaceful protest. Of course, the mainstream media made a whole lot more out of it than it really was. But under threats, Ryan Bundy stood tall. So I have no doubt of this man's integrity in defending my rights and your rights as a governor of the state of Nevada. And again, that's just like the beginning of things. He believes constitutionally the state of Nevada is a sovereign state, or like a sovereign nation. And he believes in state sovereignty. Okay, and there's a lot of issues on the horizon. We know that Jeff Sessions in the Department of Justice wants to take some of the states' rights away from us by making it illegal again to have cannabis, probably the greatest medicinal herb ever given to mankind. And that cat is out of the bag, and nobody's going to put that cat back in the bag. But nevertheless, here comes the Department of Justice under Jeff Sessions, and he wants to take that right away from us. Okay, so we have a medicinal herb here that cures cancer, that does stop seizures in children, is great for glaucoma, PTSD, our military veterans that are coming back with PTSD. Rather than giving them opioids, which they're overdosing and dying on all the time, they can have cannabis. Okay? There are so many benefits to that plant. And here, like I said, here we got Jeff Sessions, Department of Justice. Now they want to take it all away from us. There's other states' rights issues that need to be addressed. One of them, quite honestly, is immigration. The government's job is to control the borders. But once they're in the state, that's the state's responsibility, state sovereignty. I don't believe in quote-unquote sanctuary cities. because I think a lot of that's just set up for criminals that came to America illegally. However, okay, that's the state's responsibility. I don't know anywhere in the Constitution, in the Enclave Clause, that it mentions ICE. Okay, so what is ICE doing? Well, I know for a fact that they're going on buses and asking for everybody's ID. We know all about their checkpoints. They have no right to do that in a sovereign state. Okay? Now, what do we do? Because, immigration is a touchy subject. So what do we do with people that did come over here illegally, did not go through the process? Well, I think that there should be a task force and set up and on a case-by-case basis to look at it very carefully. And I believe this is what Ryan Bundy in some of our discussions I've heard him say. They got to be treated like human beings. I know that Ryan Bundy is a family man. He's got 8 children. He loves his children very much. And he knows that other parents love their children. And their children will love their parents. So as far as splitting up families, I just don't see it. And I think Ryan Bundy would stand up for families and, check it out very carefully, because we know this has been abused through chain migration or chain immigration. So it's all got to be looked at. It's got to be looked at very carefully. Nobody wants criminals coming into their state and taking advantage of those constituents. So, but it is a real touchy subject. I have all the faith in the world that Ryan Bundy, as governor, will do the right thing. There's other issues. There are so many issues. One of the biggest ones is getting our natural resources. Do you realize how many people are out of work? Now things are getting better, but if we had control of our natural resources, people would actually be able to experience the American dream. We still got homeless people all over the place. If they don't have opportunities for employment or get a job, or even to be an entrepreneur, what's going to happen? Well, you see what happens. We have a meltdown of society, and prisons get filled up with people that are desperate. If we have our natural resources, we have access to those natural resources, so much of that just goes away, okay? It's not that people are inherently bad, but people do get very frustrated and they get desperate, and sometimes good people do stupid things. It's just the best way to sum it up. So we get our natural resources back where we actually control them as a state. Well, then we can have tremendous employment. So that's one right there. Let's talk about these prisons. I just briefly mentioned them. Prisons for profit. Ryan Bundy's gone through that system. He was denied his constitutional rights. You realize this man was denied bail for 2 years? For 2 years, he was guilty until proven innocent. He represented himself in court in Oregon, with Anna J. Brown, and here in Nevada with Judge Gloria Navarro. He prevailed. I was a court observer up there in Oregon, and I saw he did a tremendous job representing himself. He knows what these court systems are like. He knows just how bad that deck is stacked against the average American citizen. We really don't have access to our court systems. That's an illusion, an absolute illusion. In Oregon, the attorneys tried to get the clients all to plead out. But they said, no, we're going to stand on principle. And Ryan Bundy was one of those. And all of the attorneys wanted this insane amount of money to represent him. He didn't have the money. His family didn't have the money. So what did the man do? He educated himself to this corrupt system, and he beat them at their own game. Isn't that the type of person that you'd want representing you? I know that's the type of person I'd want representing me. And the court systems have got to be revamped. He knows this. And there's so many other things. These are just a few of the things that I'm mentioning. This man will stand up for your rights. God-given rights, constitutional rights. He will stand up for those rights. Yes, I think that Ryan Bundy will make a great governor. Now, I'm going to mention just briefly some of the other people that are running for governor, like Sisolak. Sisolak has already come out. Now, he's on the Democratic ticket, but he's already come out and he said he's going to confiscate firearms. We have some of these other GOP men running for governor. You know, I'm not saying they're necessarily bad people because I really don't think they are, but they just don't know what it takes to get your rights back. Fisher, for example, another family man. But he's run on the GOP ticket, but so much of his platform is actually very liberal. In closing, I'd like to mention one other thing. Ryan Bundy is a family man. He has 8 children. He is very interested in their education. He wants the best for his children, and he wants the best for your children too. And so what do we do with our school system that in so many ways has just turned into a big propaganda machine for our children, which they have no right to do? I know in Las Vegas every year, the UN literally for 1 week comes in and teaches these kids. I found out from a stepdaughter, she told me everything they said. I was mortified. I couldn't believe it. That's the type of stuff that's got to go bye-bye. Can't have that. Common Core. Got to go bye-bye. Okay? There's a lot of people that send their kids to private schools, charter schools, things like that. So why are they paying for other children's education through property taxes? They should be able to have a voucher, and any parent have a voucher, so that money will follow that child, and they can pick the schools that they want for their children. That will create competition. That will make all the school system. It'll make them shape up or ship out. Okay, that's what I say. Shape up or ship out. Vote for Ryan Bundy for governor. Thank you very much.